Greetings, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with a brand new episode of 50 Years in a Dungeon, the Work in Progress edition. This is a show where I interview folks who have worked on tabletop role-playing games. I started it to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the original tabletop role-playing game, Dungeons and Dragons, and the hobby itself. We're now in the 51st year, and I'm having fun doing it, so the show rolls on. I'm bringing in new groups of people who are, let's say, the first year, very D&D focused. We're very D&D focused on purpose. I have a history working at TSR and Wizards of the Coast, so that's kind of a natural. But now, I've done a lot of work for other things, and I know a lot of very interesting people who've worked on other associated products, companies, things like that. And so I'm asking them on to come and chat with me. Hello, Michael. Thank you for joining. Someone got my hair. Yeah, I got my hair done. You like it? Do I look pretty? I went too long. I needed to get rid of some of that hair. I probably should have done it while the weather was hot. Instead, I suffered through the hot weather with long hair, and now that it's starting to cool down, I've cut my hair. That's me. Anyway, as I was saying, now I lost my train of thought. I can't get back on it. Yeah, so when we finished the first season, which was, as I say, all D&D, I started to move out and start to do work on do cartoons. Oh, I didn't finish explaining. I have these conversations, but as I start open, I'm your cartoonist pal. So in order to keep things interesting while we talk, I draw. I draw a cartoon homage to a classic piece of gaming art. And, that's fun for me and fun, hopefully, for you guys because you keep tuning in. And in the end, I wind up with some nice pieces of art. And now I've spread out beyond D&D. So when I did do this, though, I started to fall behind in finishing the art, and that's why we're having these work in progress shows, which I'm no longer starting new drawings, and I'm having looser conversations rather than the kind of focused interviews I did in the first segments of the show. And it's been fun doing a lot of Ask Me Anything, a lot of interacting with you folks in the audience, and in the meanwhile, doing some drawing. And that is how we got here. And here is today when I'm inviting my very good friend James Stowe on. I can see him in the green room going like this. Oh, what a terrible intro. What the heck is wrong with Stan? Yes, James Stowe. You may not have heard of him. I wouldn't be surprised, but you'll wish, after tonight, you'll say, why haven't I heard of that guy before? He's a great artist. He's a great cartoonist. He is super knowledgeable in the world of graphic design, and he's an arts educator. And also, very funny, very fun person. So I'm going to stop trying to think of a clever introduction, and I'm just going to hit this button here, and he's going to be on the screen with me. Hello, James Stowe. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, Stan! Exclamation point. How are you doing?
I am fine.
All right. And congratulations on the haircut. That looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I usually get about the same haircut. I wasn't sure how short I was going to get it this time, and I just kind of said, you know what? Yeah, go for the short. Go for the summer version.
Yeah, I've had the same haircut for almost 30 years. It's going strong for me. This look never goes out of style on a guy my size.
Right. Well,
yeah.
It's a classic.
It's getting longer.
You know what? I don't. So when I was in college, I had a big chunky mustache. I had a full.
Just a mustache?
Just a mustache.
Mm.
It was the 80s. I look back at the pictures and I think, what the hell was I thinking? But at the time, I was like, no, I don't want a beard. This is what I want.
Sure, it was Magnum PI time.
Yeah.
You had to go with the mustache.
It was Magnum PI times. Yes,
yeah.
That's the closest you could say to Tom Selleck and I looking together.
There you go. I bet you were at the time very Tom Selleck-like. I can see it in my mind's eye.
Yeah, your
You
mind's eye is
have a
lying to you.
safe room. I can see it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, when I went to Japan, I grew the beard. Actually, I grew it out and kept it trimmed up here, so it was a thin along the jawline. But I also played around with length, and I found that I just really don't like the my mustache hair gets in my mouth. When the beard hair gets long, I find it distracting. I really
Yeah,
like
when I get
a
to the
close
Wilford Brimley stage of the mustache, that's when I shave that down.
cut.
I generally only shave this. I shave this once a year for November to raise awareness for cancer. Um, and that's the only time
Hmm.
I shave. I shave once a year, and this is
Getting close. Got one more month,
seven.
and then it's gonna
Uh,
go.
it's like 10 months of growth
Yeah.
is what this is. Yeah.
So
And I do
James,
appreciate Michael saying that it's pretty,
it is
which I would
purdy.
not call that. Yeah. And thank
um,
you for the wonderful introduction. That was fantastic. I would be so. I think even in my heyday as a fantasy illustrator, not many people knew who I was.
well, I mean,
And that is
yeah.
the
If
nature of the beast sometimes.
if you're not, um, what was the guy that did the vampire, the original vampire covers? Tim Bradstreet. If you're not Tim Bradstreet or uh, you know Tony
Josh
DiTerlizzi,
Gabriel Timbrook.
yeah,
Yep, yeah.
yeah, most people won't know who you are. But you did do a bunch of illustrations for World of Darkness.
Oh yeah, a ton at the time. Yeah, I
In
was
what era? At what in what years were
I
you?
was multiple eras. I was the a Changeling core artist when Changeling and the Dreaming originally came out. I did a lot of work in Werewolf as well. I did a ton of their historical stuff. The Vampire Dark Ages, I was in almost all of those books.
Right.
Um, and all the other historical versions that they would do. Um, I still do some work with Onyx Path, which is they are mostly doing either extensions of the original line or they do some like third party Dungeon and Dragon stuff. But mostly what I do for them now is all graphic design based. Like I do a lot of designing of fictional logos and that kind of thing.
Right. For
Yeah.
games like
Let's see. The latest thing I did a bunch of Hunter. The don't know what all their games had a the something. I forget what. It's either the Vigil or the Reckoning or the I'm not sure what.
Hunter
But
the something or other.
I did some historical faction symbols for one of their most recent books. So that's the kind of stuff I contribute nowadays for the whole White Wolf line. But I had a great time. Once I even worked in their warehouse for a while. I was a
This is White
fixture.
Wolf you're talking about?
White Wolf, yeah. So I lived on the East Coast for a really long time. So I never really got. It's only recently that I've moved. Recently, by like uh, almost 20 years now. Moved to the Pacific Northwest, so I didn't really have a lot of ties with Wizards of the Coast. And by the time I moved here, I had a family, and I had kind of given up on like seeking out a lot of work. So I never really did work for like core Dungeons and Dragons. I've done a lot of work for a lot of companies who did third party Dungeons and Dragons stuff, but never worked for Wizards. I think the only work I ever did for Wizards is very briefly. They did uh, they did some cards for Rage that I
Yeah.
actually was contracted through uh, WotC to do that. Um, and I think that's the only time I've ever worked for them.
All right.
I also love iconography and logo design. I'm sorry, I'm responding to Michael in the chat.
All right.
It's one of my favorite
It's
things in the world. So when I get to do it and pair it with tabletop role playing, which is one of also my favorite things in the world, it's one of my true passions. I love creating fake fantasy branding.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
Really.
I love when you're working on those things when we get to talk about them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna before we go on, I'm gonna say that I'm having some weird lag arc things happening on my end occasionally. When that's happened before, it has caused the chat to crash. If
Oh,
that happens, log back on, and we'll get going. It often means that I can't do live drawing, which would change what we plan to do and how long we'll do it. But or it may not be a problem. I could be worrying, but the last few times I haven't given this warning to the person, and they've just everyone kind of freaked out. So there we go. Warning delivered.
well, if I crash everybody, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If we crash, it's his fault.
That's right.
Right.
You know, I really love, speaking of graphic design, I really love how complementary we are visually. Today, I've got a dark background and orange on. I've got blue and a light background. We are doing some really wonderful stuff.
Almost as
Uh,
if we planned it, which we
yeah,
did.
in no way did we plan any of that, but it's great. Like, visually compelling for your audience is what I'm trying to say. As visually compelling as I'd imagine the two of us can possibly be.
All right, so I'm gonna start drawing, and let's start by talking about how you got uh, into. You say
Oh,
you were working at White Wolf in their warehouse.
I went to college in Georgia, which is where they were originally located. They were located in Atlanta. I went to college in
You didn't just go to college in Georgia. You went to SCAD. You went to
I went
the
to SCAD. Yes, I went to SCAD, which is in Savannah, Georgia, which is only about 2 hours, 2.5 hours away from
SCAD. For those
Atlanta.
who aren't artists, SCAD is Savannah College of Art and Design. It's a very prestigious
It is
art college.
the third largest private art college in the country. Also, one of the most expensive. Not that
Lucky
I'm
you.
still dealing with that. Yeah. Um, but I want to say it was the beginning of my sophomore year. A representative from White Wolf came to talk to the illustration department at SCAD. And at the time, I had just discovered role playing. I grew up in a very small town, did not have any access to anything like that.
And
So it
this
was,
is when what's the year?
what the year would be 93, 1993. If that dates me, oof. But
Look
in
who you're hanging out with. Don't worry about it.
right. But so White Wolf was at the time becoming quite a thing in the role playing industry. They were the bad boys. I love to say that because it's hilarious. Um, they really prided themselves on that
They sure
reputation.
did.
Yes, they did. So I worked very hard to get an internship with them.
All right. In theory, we're live again.
All right.
All right. So I mean, I do this show live because it keeps me from having to edit anything. But anytime this happens, I've got some editing in front of me. I've got to take that. Sometimes there have been days when I've done this and it's crapped out multiple times, and I just wanted to finish what I was working on. So I've wound up with 3 or 4 different videos. I had to. Now I don't have to do
Splice.
any fancy editing. I've just kind of have to see. Okay, here's where it kind of goes dumb, and splice. but it's
Yeah, I
still,
wonder where it cut us off,
I
like
don't
in
know.
our conversation.
We may never
Yeah.
know. And we may or may not get folks back. Oh, in fact, Michael's back. Michael's back because we're back.
I'm glad you're back, Michael.
There we go. Yeah, as James said, he was about to answer one of your questions. All right. So as I said before, I feel good in that I spotted the telltale signs that might
Oh
happen.
yeah,
I
you
feel bad that it
definitely
happened,
did it.
but
Yeah, I was surprised it happened so quickly after you called it.
well, so uh, I'm putting a load on my machine here when we do this because it's dealing with my video and your incoming video and my incoming drawing from the tablet and communicating with the often with a site called restream.com. Right now we're just going to YouTube. We're YouTube only here. All those other places where I air, they've got static right now. YouTube's got this stuff. Which is why, if you're watching this on replay, you should subscribe to my YouTube channel.
I agree.
Because that's where the archive lives, and if things go wrong and I have to pick one channel, it's YouTube. Un- until I find a better option.
Is not streaming on LinkedIn? That's not the
Not
best.
anymore.
Could probably not badmouth LinkedIn, really.
We don't have to badmouth anything, but I, you know what, I went to LinkedIn because uh, several people I was talking to was telling me how people were using LinkedIn for that kind of thing. I don't know anyone that does, and I don't get particularly good uh, viewership numbers. I get steady, but
Well, I did. I was a co-host for like a graphic design live stream on LinkedIn for a couple months. It was pretty well attended.
yeah.
Um, through the Graphic Artist Guild. Yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it.
But there's another thing that we should talk about eventually is your connection with the Graphic Artist Guild. But
Sure.
we were talking about. So I'm going to try this again. Let's come over to the drawing. I didn't get very far.
Can
So
you
we were
talk a
talking
little bit
about
about what
your
you are doing?
what?
Do you can I talk a little bit about what you're doing? Because
Sure.
I absolutely love both the original cover and your take on the cover. I'm a big fan of drawing like cartoony animals. So, as a matter of fact, one of the more recent uh, tabletop role playing games that I worked on was for ninth level games called Venture Village, which is a um, cute little animal RPG, cozy little animal RPG designed for autistic children. Which I
Nice.
yeah, no, I think that's such an amazing market. I did um, kind of in the middle 2000 teens. I worked on a my own self published like web comic role playing game designed to kind of teach kids how to play role playing games. So that it's
So
something
we're,
that's
we're going
near
to
and
talk
dear.
about that a little later too.
Sure. So, but and this is for a new game, right? Because it's not a cover that I recognize.
Well, this is a game that got announced around the beginning of the year, and Kobold Press did a big Kickstarter for it and did very well. And it's currently at the printers. I think it's due to hit stores or be published and sent to backers sometime in the next month or two. I think it's on a boat right now. Actually, I'm having
Apropos.
lunch with Wolfgang Bauer tomorrow, maybe. So I'm having lunch with Wolfgang Bauer soon. And one of the questions I'm going to ask him is uh, when RiverBank is likely to show up. Um, because it's so freaking awesome. It's designed by Kij Johnson, who is a Hugo Award-winning fiction writer and former
Hmm.
creative director at D&D on D&D.
Well, that's a resume. Who's the cover artist?
Catherine, I have to look it up. I don't remember.
I
Um,
love the watercolory
yeah, no, it's beautiful,
looseness of
really
it.
gorgeous.
It's very Wind in the Willows.
And that is absolutely the influence.
Oh, for sure, it's got to be intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Kij on as a guest. In fact, I did this drawing when I did the pencil drawing you're seeing when she was a guest earlier in the year, and
Is it what's it called? Is it's called RiverBank?
it's called
Uh,
RiverBank.
RiverBank.
If you look up RiverBank Kobold Press, RiverBank RPG Kobold Press, and it'll take you to their stuff.
That's lovely. It makes me. If you don't mind, I might just draw some analog stuff, not digital stuff. Just
Yeah,
draw
yeah,
along
yeah.
with. I love the idea of drawing little cartoon animals in clothing.
Please, I would love for you to do that. All right, so you got your start. Uh, so I'm gonna go back to one of the things you said about how you got started, about how you did
Sure.
that painting a night and brought it in, and you didn't recommend to other people that they do that. And
Being a nuisance generally is not the best way to get a job.
well,
No.
so yes, I was gonna say the thing not to recommend is the being a nuisance part, but um,
Yes. I mean, I also
every other
recommend a
part of that
good.
I think is great.
In my advanced age, um, I would promote a more of a work-life balance than I have assumed in my life. That's always been a struggle for me is work-life balance. Um, so I would just if you want to break into whatever you want to break into, I definitely think dedication is key. But just make sure that you stay healthy and
Yeah,
you manage your time well.
I would say
But
that of the things you did, the painting a night was probably a little excessive, but
for sure,
doing painting, do one painting and then do another painting and do another painting and show them to the people you hope to get work for.
yeah, I would definitely say make the work that you know your either your potential employer or a client that they want to see. Like it is okay to create things with a specific person in mind. I think that's one of the best ways to get hired as a visual artist for sure is to show them the work that they want and that they can associate with you so you are a solution for that work. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly agree with that. That's what I would tell my students um, and what I would tell anybody.
All right, that is a nice little segue to anytime you and I get to talking about things like that, some kind of professorial uh, advice tone is going to creep into each of our voices. And one of the things I wrote in my intro for you is that you are an arts educator. Tell people about some of what you do.
Sure. I am a very strong believer that way too early, um, children are told that if they do not exhibit talents, artistic talent, then they are not an artist. That if you don't have some kind of talent early, then there's no reason for you to be an artist. And I am a big believer that there's only two things that you really need to be an artist. Everyone's an artist from the moment they're born. But there's two things. If you want to pursue it and get better at it and really feel like you're accomplishing something with it, it is dedication and skill. Talent is not required for art. It makes it easier to start. But I've known many working artists who did not start with any talent, who had dedication and built skill, and that was the real deciding factor. So as I got older in my career, and I was looking for a full time job, I didn't really feel the need to go back to creating. I decided that I wanted to get an education. At the time, I was doing that project for younger children, and I really wanted to be able to continue that in some way. So I am now a high school teacher and middle school teacher. Um, oh, absolutely. I'm a big. Michael in chat just said thank you for differentiating between talent and skill. Um, Absolutely, talent is great, and I was born with talent. And very early in my life, I was told, "Oh, you're going to be an artist." So I didn't even dispute it. I was like, "Okay, I'm going to be an artist. I'm good at it." Um, but through my journey as an artist, I've met so many people. I'm a big fan of talking to artists and learning their background, what they do, how they do things. Um, Whenever I have an opportunity, I like to participate in communities of artists. Um, and I realize that for the most part, it's a skill. I have over 1,000 hours doing the kind of work I do. My skills have improved quite a bit in the time that I've been working, but it is all based on dedication and skill. If you just rely on talent and that's all you're going to do, you're not going to get any better. You really have to push yourself and get out there. So I wanted to take all these philosophies that I had about art and art journeys, and I wanted to, give back in some way. So that's why I decided to become a teacher. And here in Washington State, which is where I live, um, they have a incredible CTE department in the public school level. I originally started as a private school teacher and a tutor, and then I really wanted to get into public school because I thought that's where I could make the biggest difference. So that's what I did. So for the past 4 years, I have been a graphic design teacher at my local public school, and I love it. I love it, 100%. So glad I did it. And for all you other teachers out there, thank you very much for your service.
I think, I mean, that's one of the things I talk about in on my Thursday show a lot is that um, drawing you shouldn't be drawing shouldn't just be for the people who are in air quotes artists, right? Everyone should do something artistic, and we're all artists, lowercase a artists, and we all should be, right? It's part of our human heritage. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
and as you say, too often uh, in in a lot of countries, particularly in America, I don't want to say this happens everywhere, but because my experience only is here, we tell the people who don't have uh, the who don't start with some kind of leg up, which is that's what this talent thing is. It's the leg up. Um,
Yep.
but kind of, I mean, to go along with what you were saying, the difference between the person that goes on to be an artist and the other kids who are all drawing, everyone's drawing when you're a kid, is that the person that goes on to be an artist keeps doing it and puts in the time. It's and as you were saying, it develops the skill, takes that raw leg up, and learns the tools to go to apply it in different ways that they wouldn't know before. And and keeps doing it, right? They they do it. They start because it's fun. They're encouraged to do it more, but uh, there's no reason that everyone shouldn't keep doing it for the fun.
Absolutely. And honestly, there's studies that show that creative pursuits really help keep the mind sharp um, as you age.
Hmm.
Do you mind if I answer a question in chat?
I don't mind at
Michael
all.
asked if I got a master's in education to teach. I am teaching through what is called a CTE program, career technical education. So the state applies my years of professional experience in lieu of a master's of education. So I was able to transition directly from the workforce into the teaching position, which was absolutely wonderful.
That was one of those.
Someone in chat just said I was encouraged not to sing and draw. That's horrible. I'm sorry. Although I'm often encouraged not to sing as well. But I believe strongly sing, dance, create art as much as you can, regardless of what people say. Make it for you because it's enjoyment in a very visceral sense.
Yeah.
And to deny yourself that because someone is like, oh, you're not good at it, is terrible. I hate that. Um, so especially kids, like kids should always be encouraged to sing and dance and make stuff,
Yeah.
express themselves.
Oh, for flibbity
All right,
flobbies. Guess
I've
what I
made a
did?
little frog.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I guess what I did.
Did you draw on the wrong layer?
I did. I've been
Did
drawing
you
on
draw
my.
on your blue? You drew on your blue layer.
Yeah.
Is there a way for you to just capture the black line and pull it off, cut it, and place it on another layer?
There is, but
All right,
it's
Cindy.
difficult and I don't have it memorized. So I'm going to go to a new layer and I'm going to do that later.
Okay. Well, it happens to the best of us, Stan.
It does. It does. And it
That's
happens
what the
to me
layers are
too.
for. To be the wrong layer. That's why they exist. Um, I love this. This is lovely. I'm just glad you invited me so I get to watch you draw.
Wait, I want to see. Wait, hold on. I want to see what you held up before. What were you drawing?
Oh, I just doodled a little. I was. Wait, this way. I was.
Other
No,
way,
wait,
other
this way.
way. There you go.
There we go. I
That's
was just
awesome.
inspired by Wind in the Willows. So
Mr. Toad.
Mr. Toad, absolutely.
Um, so, besides doing the school education, you've also had
Hmm.
a lot to do with the graphic artist guild.
Yes. Again, communities of artists. I'm a big fan of, uh, and when I turned 40, uh, I was in a position where I was the creative director for international company that no longer exists because I quit. No, that's not why they no longer exist. But um, and I was like, you know what? I really want to get back into freelance work. I miss it. I really want to do it. There's stuff I want to do that I can't do in my job. And luckily, my family was very supportive. And they said, yes, walk away from this job and start a freelance career and see how that works. And I did that for about 10 years. And one of the main things I learned in doing, for trying to support myself fully on freelance with a family, is that there's not a lot of support out there for working creative professionals. So I started volunteering with the Graphic Artists Guild, which does some amazing work in trying to protect working creative professionals, primarily in the design fields.
Hmm.
But that does include cartoonists and illustrators. Um, and I have been with them in one capacity or another. I think it's been at least 8 years. I believe I've been with them. Um, I absolutely support their work. They're amazing. If you are a working artist, I would recommend that you look them up. They have amazing webinars that you can, with a membership, have free access to. Um, they do a lot of lobbying in Washington for working artists. They uh, really try to provide. You can get insurance through them, for example, and they also provide the what is it called? God, I'm having a brain fart. Um, the the ethical guidelines. It's called the handbook for. I always call it the pegs, and I know they don't like when people call it that. But it's a book all about how to work for yourself in the creative design field. They release a new copy of it about every 2 to 3 years, and they survey working artists throughout the country, and they ask them honest questions about what is it like to do work, and how do you do it, and what's the industry like, where are you working. And the book is just filled with incredibly vital information. As a matter of fact, I used the book most of my career without ever realizing there was a volunteer group attached to it that actually worked on it. So I'm very passionate about the Graphic Artists Guild and my work with it. So I could talk about that for the rest of our time together tonight, but I don't know if it's the most gamery thing to talk about.
Well, I mean, I led you
But
that way so we could talk for at least a bit.
I will say that as part of the continued volunteer work that I do for the Graphic Artists Guild, is I host a weekly forum for freelance creative professionals every Sunday,
A
on
weekly
Zoom,
online.
online, yes, on
Yes.
Zoom, uh, where we just get together and we talk what it's like to be a freelancer, a creative freelancer. We've got a nice community there, and I get to talk to working professionals once a week, which is really fantastic for me.
And it's called,
Oh, you mean what is the forum? It's called
yeah.
Freelance Fandango.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyone can go. All they have to do.
Anyone can go. Absolutely, it's free to sign up. You can check it out through the Graphic Artists Guild through their calendar of events. If you are interested, Michael says I've long advocated for freelancers in the comic book industry. Oh man, let's not even talk about the working conditions in the comic book industry. Oh yeah, I could talk about that all night too, and
let's
it would
not,
be
because
sad.
that's like then that becomes just a a contest between who has it worse, people in the tabletop game industry or the comics industry, and we'll just argue
At
about
least in the gaming industry, you have a better chance, not a great chance, but a better chance of owning your own stuff,
it.
depending on how you
That's not even true, and the reason it's not true is that
work.
it's just as easy to self-publish in cartooning as it is
No,
in
that's true.
gaming.
You're right. You're right.
Now, do you have a
Yeah.
better chance of making some money in gaming than making some money in cartooning? Maybe that's an arguable
I don't
point.
know. I don't know if that's true
I
either.
don't. I don't either. You know what? I would argue cartoonists have a.
I would say you have a better chance making money in being an independent comic artist than you do an independent game designer. Independent game designers do it for the love, the pure obsession. As an independent game designer, talking to an independent game designer, I'd say we both made more money. We've both made more money in comics than we have, and neither of us really have a comics career.
I've made more money in independent games, but
Have
I
you?
have.
Good for
I
you.
have a. I've come out of being a professional, on staff professional, and that is a leverage that you just can't replicate it
Yeah,
on
well,
your own.
I'm talking more like it. Like you own your thing, you're making your thing, you're distributing your thing. I just think it's just easier to merchandise and commodify comics, at least in my opinion. I and maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're
Probably.
generally right, but like I say, if but merchandising and commodifying is about building an audience, and if you come out of working for Wizards or
That's true.
or Green Ronin or anywhere where you've got a visibility, it's much easier to translate that
How did you
into
pronounce that?
what
How did you pronounce that?
Green Ronin.
Grit. Is that how you pronounce it? I've been pronouncing it wrong my
Yes,
whole life.
everyone does. Yes, Ronin rhymes with green. It's a rhyme. It's a rhyming name. Green Ronin. The word in Japanese is Ronin.
I had no idea.
I
I'm
know.
so glad I
That's
was
all
on
right.
tonight. I know. I love that it's a pun name. Hey, all, what was James's favorite gaming product in the hobby as a kid? I will say, as a kid, I was raised extremely religious and was told that all role playing games, all gaming products would drive me crazy. Or I would be like condemned. So I didn't really get into role playing games until I went off to college. A little bit before that, but I got off to college is when I really started. And then I just went all in, and I've been doing nothing but like a part of my career has been attached to the role playing game industry ever since. So see how well that upbringing did. But I would say my I did see a lot. So I grew up in a really small town. I grew up in a town of 900 people, more cows than people. But we had a local drugstore, and that local drugstore every month had a copy of heavy metal, and I would buy
Uh,
every copy they ever had. Between that and Mad Magazine, those were my only two outlets. Like I didn't even well, there wasn't even a comic store within 45 minutes of me, but heavy metal and Mad Magazine I bought every month, absolutely every month, and those two things really defined my artistic style. I think from a very early age.
so heavy metal just came up last week too, without ever having the previous year. Heavy metal almost never came up, which is really strange. Uh, but so what were the things? What were the things in heavy metal that you were uh, reading?
You know what? I don't even think at that point I even cared what was in it. It was just page after page of this artwork that I had never seen anything like that before. Obviously, I grew up in the age before the internet, so I didn't have a lot of access to anything outside of my incredibly small town. So it was like this magical portal to like fantasy and science fiction and superheroes and um, giant steroidal, can I swear, badasses,
Sure.
right? It was just amazing. Every page, I would draw every page over and over and over again. I
So,
loved
I
it.
mean,
I
it doesn't
absolutely loved
surprise me at the time that that might not have stuck with you, but it surprises me that now you can't look back and say, yes, these were the ones, and name some of them.
it. I That's just not how my brain works. I think,
Okay.
Stan, is the thing. Uh, I I don't think I can. I'm trying. I'm struggling to think of one
What was
storyline
the
that really.
music you were listening to at that era? Who were the bands you were listening to?
I loved at the time. As a teenager, I listened to nothing but heavy metal music and punk music. It was those two things. So it's not a big surprise that heavy metal. The magazine also spoke to me in some way. So
Right,
I
but
mean,
you
look at this.
remember,
Look at
but
this goatee. I don't get this goatee from listening to K-pop.
right, but I'm saying,
There's anything
I
wrong
bet
with
you remember
K-pop.
the name. What were the bands you were? Who were you listening to?
One of my favorite bands of all time is Cinderella. Absolutely love Cinderella. Will still listen to Cinderella. I believe I have a vinyl of Cinderella just over there on my record player right now.
Yeah, we're
Um,
gonna revisit what you were making fun about me before.
oh no, absolutely. I will be the first to admit I have terrible taste in music. I loved punk side. I liked Fear was a one of my favorite bands. Black Flag, I really like Black Flag. Ramones, obviously. I didn't think we would be talking about music,
Well,
otherwise I
okay,
would.
but we don't really talk about it in in detail, but it's more to make the point that you did figure out who the music you were listening to was. I just find it interesting that even all these years later, you're not sure, other than they were the ones that were in heavy metal. Like even if that you don't remember the names of either some a few of the stories or the artists, um, given
Yeah,
how
okay. You
influential it was.
really want to know why? Well, like who inspired me the most at an early age to be an artist?
Sure.
There was. Oh, this is so bad. I can't believe I'm telling this story to to
Right, you
to
could
people.
still say I forget.
Nope, I've committed at this point. So I want to say it's 1989. It's probably closer to 1990, maybe even 91. And there was a Levi jeans commercial. I think you know
The
where I'm
one,
going with
the one
this.
on the moon.
No, it was the Levi jeans commercial that featured Rob Liefeld as a cool guy in
Ah,
jeans, and it showed his artwork, and I had never seen anything like that before at the time. I mean, I knew the comics existed, but I never really had a chance to read any of them. Um, but when I saw that guy, and that guy was famous, he was on television, he was on MTV in a jeans commercial, and he was making comics. And I was like, I can draw like that guy at the very least. I want to do that. So I would say probably the most influential artist for me at the time was Rob. I can't draw ankles. Liefeld. Yes, I know. I agree, Michael. It was a terrible start. Um, since then,
well, on the other
obviously, I
hand, it's a
multiple.
level you could achieve. Like I start off looking at Hirschfeld. I can work for the next 50. I can work till I die. I'll never touch him.
I try to draw as many feet as I possibly can now. Yes. Yeah, it was interesting that like once I actually got to collecting comics, then I really got into some just absolutely wonderful work. I think one of my favorite. I love Jeff Darrow's work. He
Yeah.
blows my mind in what he can do. Um, I like. I don't really collect a lot of comics nowadays, but I like more indie creators now. More of the like. There's a cartoonist in Portland whose name I can not remember, and it is a crime because her work is absolutely lovely. She mostly does comics about tall ships, and her style is absolutely astounding.
Tall
Um,
ships?
tall
Age of
ships, yeah.
sail, tall ships?
Yep, yep, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, I've had the pleasure of meeting and drawing with her a few times. Absolutely love her work. Whose name I can't remember, unfortunately.
Well,
Um,
I won't tell her.
yeah, I'm terrible with names. I'm a visual processor, so I remember things in pictures more often than
Um, uh, who are some of the, or rather than who, what are some of the other comics things that are um, either influential or that you're looking at now?
that. I hate to be the guy who's like, I don't know if that's a particular. I think that's a dead end, Stan.
All right,
Uh,
that's all right. No, that's good. Let's move on. Let's go to something else.
I at this point for entertainment, I think what I do is I collect um, fragments of game design more than anything else. I try to figure out like what is good in the gaming industry, what what is novel and interesting that people are doing. I think I would appreciate that. I read novels, I think, more than comics at this point. I appreciate looking at artwork, but just try to take as much artwork in as I can. I would I think some of my favorite artists are the ones that I know personally. Like Stan, you were one of my favorite artists. I
Oh,
consider you a friend. I love your work. Um, I could gush over your style and how like just effortless you make cartooning look. Um,
oh, thank
and
you.
that to me is way more important is knowing having a relationship with artists that I appreciate.
All right. Well, then, who are some of the cartoonists that maybe oh, we should know? Maybe I do know, but our audience.
It's a really good question. Man, I didn't know this was going to be a quiz. Can I just talk about myself? That's way
Yeah,
better.
sure. Let's go back and talk about you. You also do game
Oh, maybe not
design.
for everybody else. What's that?
You also do game design.
I do. I do. I try. Um, I didn't. That wasn't ever a goal of mine. I was very happy to be on the art side of things. Um, but if we is this, I would like to segue if I could into Sidekick Quests. That would be great because that's
Sure.
where I really started getting into game design. So in 2012, um, I started working on an independent web comic called Sidekick Quests, which my
Sidekick
goal
quests. Let just say so slowly
sidekick
for sidekick
quest
quests.
sidekick quests, yes. It doesn't. I don't think you can find much evidence of it online anymore. Um, but at the time, it had a pretty solid following. And the idea of it was a tabletop role playing game slash comic about kids for kids.
Okay.
because I had a very young son who was very interested in all the gaming products that I had. And for his, I think it was his 10th birthday, I made an entire adventure for him, a Dungeons and Dragons adventure for him and his friends for his party. And I did all the artwork for it and I uploaded it all online. I was like, hey, this is what I did for my son's birthday. And it went viral. It went all over the place at the time. It was called D&D for Dads or something like that, whatever I called it at the
But
time.
this is what I did on the wrong layer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's killing me.
It should be relatively easy for you to pull all that out, though.
It's not. So I do my work in Procreate, and there are many
Yeah.
things which are great about Procreate. This is a thing that it doesn't do well. There are ways to work around it. There you've got to jump through a bunch of hoops, and 80% of the times
Its selection tools are no good. Is that what you're telling me?
its selection tool, its color selection tool. Like if I just want to pick the black off a layer, is no good.
Oof, that's rough.
It is. It is. If there was one thing I could magically snap my fingers and put into Procreate, it would be that.
I bet.
This doesn't happen to me often because the few times like this it does, I remember for the next 6 months. I remember. It's almost like
Yeah.
if I did all this work and didn't save it and suddenly it disappeared, I remember that for a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, those are also classic moments. uh, I've had quite a few of those in my time.
That's why I said that.
No, I know the one you're specifically referencing, and I'll go ahead and say it out loud. Once I did a 24. I live streamed a 24-hour comic experience that in hour 16 of the 24, when I had made, I believe it was 17 pages of comics, I realized too late that I never saved them, and the entire program crashed while I was live streaming. And I broke. I like literally had a minor psychotic break on camera. It was one of my lowest moments. That comic to this day only exists in that video, and you can only see that video by being a member of the Graphic Artists Guild because it's part of their web archive. So,
All right. I'm going to ask your opinion here. So,
yeah.
when I do these, that I do them often in layers, and I very often will change the inking color to create senses of depth. So on this here, should I do the river where the river meets the boat? Should I do that in a river color or a black line?
You mean the line that literally is tracing the bottom of the boat?
I mean this line here, the
Yeah,
wave.
yeah, that's the line I'm talking about. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Normally, when you have a transition like that, because you were talking about toning your lines to develop depth,
Yeah.
do you ever tone your lines just to determine different subjects, to separate different subjects?
Yes.
Well, then I think it's okay to tone your
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
think it's okay. I'm more asking with your opinion on if you think.
I would do it.
Yeah.
If you're going to start toning lines, yeah, that's where I would make the first choice.
So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make a new layer for the bank and the tree in front, and that's still gonna be black lines. But the bank behind and the background is going to be a lighter, probably a dark green color. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Now, do you ever purposefully um, vary your line weight? I don't see a lot of line weight variation in your work.
Um,
Do you
yes,
ever do that?
I do
Yes.
sometimes do that, but I don't. It's not. Even when I do it, you might miss it.
Hmm. So you wouldn't choose a much larger brush size for the tree, knowing that it's in the extreme
I
foreground.
would do that. In fact, I did that. Let's go back to here. I did that for this one, right? The
Yeah,
guy,
yeah, no, for
yeah,
sure. I see it.
but it's not super different. It's it's subtle-ish,
Yeah,
and
I would say
in fact,
it's
I really
it's
only
what.
did it on the silhouette. The interior lines are about the same weight as everything else.
Sure, sure. Now that was another thing that which I would have loved to ask you, and I'm glad you said it out loud first. Is do you do like I have when I'm working on a digital project? I probably have a like a maybe a 3 or 4 pixel size brush
Yeah.
that I use for outlining things, and then I have like a 1 or 2 pixel size brush for detail work. And then for
Um,
much larger things, I do maybe 6 to 8 pixels. Um,
so you can't see it here. Let me. You may get muted when I do this, but uh,
sure.
let me come over here. So over here on the left, you can see there's a scale. There's two sliding scales. One of them has hash marks on it. Those hash marks are different sizes for this brush, the preset sizes that I have picked. So, and they're all kind of in that upper middle chunk. I mean, it's probably very hard to see the outlining of it, but it's in the middle third of the sizes that the brush can go. So it could go
Okay.
much smaller and it could go much larger. Um,
So you in Procreate, you have an active um, brush size slider. You don't have to
yes,
switch between individual brushes. I mean, you can do the same thing in other programs, but I'm just curious as you how you work.
I can switch between brushes too, but I I have different presets for this brush. For this
Yeah.
brush, I use a lot. In fact, I've zoomed in here because these are three of them, right? The upfront silhouette, the mid-level silhouette, and the archer are three different sizes.
3 different line weights. Yeah. I mean, subtle enough. So, and we're talking maybe the difference between 2 pixels.
Probably.
Have a great dinner, Cindy. Thank you for hanging out. Cindy has to go get dinner.
Oh,
What do
hey,
you have?
Cindy. Sorry, I haven't said hi, but and now I'll say bye. But thank you for dropping in. Good to see you. Um,
James, you Windows based with your. Yes, I generally. I don't have a preference when it comes to um, like operating systems. Obviously, I was a graphic designer for many years, so I worked on Apple products because for a long time that was the belief. That is a lot less true nowadays. I my
hmm.
my tablet is a Microsoft Surface Pro because it runs full programs. And up until fairly recently, I've been a pretty strong user of Adobe software. So I wanted full Adobe programs because Adobe web apps are the worst. Um, but I've never really gotten into Procreate, which is what most people who are working on iPads gravitated over to Procreate for two main reasons. One, it ran on iPads, and two, it didn't have a subscription price, which is also really great. Um,
But I've always said there still I miss Adobe because of things like that color grab. There are things that the Adobe programs do still do much better, but I do all my work on Procreate now.
I am primarily a vector artist when it comes to digital artwork, so um, I have not found a vector art program that I like more than Adobe Illustrator. I absolutely adore Adobe Illustrator, um, which is unfortunate because I'm not a big fan of Adobe itself. Um, but sometimes, you just got to do what you got to do. And I teach Adobe software, so that I can't be that much of a critic.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
talk about industry standard. If you're
it
gonna,
is. I mean, it is the industry standard. So, although that being said, I know so many working artists who don't use it, and mostly because a lot of working artists can't afford it. Um, yeah, I love Illustrator. It um, and I can make Illustrator jump through a lot of
oh yeah,
hoops.
no, I'm just blown away by what you can make Illustrator do.
Yeah, I like to do my cartooning in Illustrator, which is not a very popular opinion by most artists.
Well, it's your cartooning, so
Yeah, Michael, that is a great sentiment. It is hard to knock Illustrator, but easy to knock Adobe. Absolutely agree with that. Adobe has made some really questionable decisions, especially lately, that as a working artist, I just cannot support. I don't need to get into those. We don't need to.
we don't need. I mean, we can if you want to, but we don't need to.
I don't really want to now.
Someone
We were
before,
was I love this stream of consciousness. We were talking about game design stuff,
yeah,
right? So
that's the beauty of this show. It's just a conversation.
that's right. I love game design. I love the idea of how mechanics influence, especially in tabletop role playing games, because unlike say board games or card games, there's an element of interaction and acting that a good role playing game, and I'm going to make a statement here that not everybody is going to agree on. A good role playing game's mechanics should encourage and support interaction and role playing and not concern itself so much with war game simulation. There, I've said it.
You know what? I would only change a very little thing about that because I have a similar but different unpopular opinion. And that is that the rules should incentivize and support what it is you want the characters to be doing.
Absolutely.
And that's
Totally.
which is kind of the same thing, but a little different, right? Because there are lots of games where fighting is the main thing, and uh, you know that they're role playing games, but you're role playing people who are fighting things. D&D is a great example. Core D&D, right? Core original D&D what came out of a minis game, and it's mostly about fighting and killing things. And D&D to this day is built around that. Now, the game itself, the game at the table, has advanced, and it it is constantly challenged by the fact that the the mechanics of the game are developed for a fighting game, but uh, but the people playing it may not want to do mostly fighting. And in fact, D&D for everything else, it cobbles together ways to do things, and it's built them in now with a skill system and various other the challenges system, so that it looks like it was designed that way. But those were put in as kludges, and they as skillfully as they have been polished, they're still come out of being kludges, and the game is at its heart built for fighting.
I've seen amazing things done with Dungeons and Dragons, like amazing
Yeah,
games with the Dungeons and Dragons that really that I think that's one of my main uh, that's one of my main critiques of Dungeons and Dragons is that all too often people will use it as a default system when it really shouldn't be a default system. It's designed to do something very specific. Um, like if you really want a high courtly intrigue game with some romantic elements, right? There are better systems out there for that. Um, and I would encourage people to find those systems or make them even better. I'm at the point. I'm one of those GMs that when you sit down at my table, you are playtesting something because I'm giving you a story with rules built for that story. That's where I live at the moment. I think I have 8 or 9 active systems I'm tinkering with at this point. What do either of you think about the graphical representation of the new Heroes of the Borderlands starter set? Have you seen that, Stan?
The Heroes of the Borderlands. I have not. You know what?
Okay.
I've seen snippets of it. I've not seen the box set. I haven't gone through the box set, so I don't feel like I could I could fake an opinion, but really I haven't. I don't feel like I've seen enough of it to have a real opinion.
All right. I like that Michael has pegged me right away. He said my White Wolf bias is showing. Absolutely true. I will admit I started role playing using the World of Darkness system. Um, I didn't actually ever play. This is going to turn the entire audience against me right now. I didn't play Dungeons and Dragons until fourth edition, which is not a great, from what I understand,
Wow.
way to get into the game. Although I'm a big defender of fourth edition.
I tell you what, I have some complicated feelings about fourth edition, but they
Most people,
at the heart of them are fourth edition is a really good game, but in the line of D&D editions, it feels out of place. It doesn't.
yeah,
It really tries to do something different in the way you're talking about, and because of it, it feels out of place, and that's why it's got. That's why the reaction to it was what it was, and why its reputation is what it was, which is really unfortunate because, again, I will stress, I think it's a great game.
it's the Deep Space Nine of Dungeons and Dragons. That is the greatest thing I have ever heard. Oh my goodness, it's so true. Oh man, I want a T-shirt that says that. I'll make a T-shirt that says that.
If you make
But yeah,
one,
World of
I'll need
Darkness,
to buy
Vampire,
one from.
Mage, Hunter, Werewolf, all those kind of games. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I like collecting. Anytime you get a humble bundle where it's like, here's 90 role playing games for $25, I will pick one of those up every single time just to read through the mechanics of each one of those games. And then I just file away little pieces here and there. I'm like, oh, I like this, and I like that, and I like that. Um, like one of my favorite homebrew mechanics that I've adopted across a lot of my games is I generally don't give out experience, I give out reputation. And then your reputation is your initiative modifier. So you can spend it to better yourself, but your initiative modifier is lower because people like your reputation is lower because you spent some time to work on yourself. But you can hoard your experience and always go first because people are know about you and are worried about what you'll do. That is like I love mechanics that also double as in-world systems, like in-world narrative systems.
Hmm.
Yeah, I picked up a lot of mega bundles too. I have so many. I haven't gotten through all of them.
Oh
I have
yeah,
a
my
problem.
my drive through RPG archive is full to brim of things I haven't read yet.
Oh yeah, same here. Same here.
So I have, um, as as you know, Stowe, uh, I have a love of uh, rules light RPG systems, and I've monkeyed around with a bunch of different versions of it. I think I've talked about it some on this show a little. Uh, I have the basic concept that uh, drove me for quite a while was to come up with a game based on what we used to do at Gen Con and other conventions, which is create these scenarios that were supposed to be played in half an hour to an hour that we could demo for people coming through. And they were D&D, but they weren't they couldn't you couldn't require people to be D&D players. In fact, you want to encourage new people to go and play D&D. So it's kind of like a, a trimmed down version of the game. And I call that in broadly demo the game or demo the RPG
Well, I love that.
or the demo system.
That's kind of what I was trying to do with the Sidekick Quests project when I was working on that. Was how do I create a a very simple role playing game that a 6 year old could play that introduces new players to this hobby that I like so much. Like how can I pare it down so much that it is still an enjoyable experience, but one that can uh, be had by as many people as possible.
Right. So
Uh,
kind of like you, I have over the years collected different rules rule snippets and starts at versions of this game. Uh, and they've all gone. I've got a folder full of them, and that each one has a little something different that I've tried. Or what if we aimed? What if we focused on this? But I'm about to finish one, or finish one enough that I'm going to show it at a convention in October.
what is it? Is it that one? Is it named exactly, or does it have a different name, like this version of that?
This one, I had to come up with a name of it back in March when I had to name the events that I'm running and say what rule set it was using. So it's called the uh, God, what's the let me see. It is the Epic Tales Epic Tales
Hmm,
RPG, which I looked up and no one has used.
that's
No
not
one has
bad.
read.
I'm working on a magnum opus right now too. It's called I call it Foretold, which is just to me sounds so wonderful. Perils of Pinebrook. Oh, I will check that out. Here, I've done some more drawing if you want to see some of this
I
stuff. But
do. Hold on.
this
Let me.
volume, wait, this way. And
That
wait,
the other way.
oh,
The
this
other
way.
way. There we go.
Here we
Nice.
go.
I'm guessing that's me. Who
That
who's
was
now?
just a heavy metal performer.
All right.
I was just drawing some things that we were talking about at the time.
That's awesome.
You know, we should just now I have an idea where I just want to do streams and talk about game design with you. That would be amazing.
I'd be down with that. You know, you want to come back another Wednesday and just sit and do this again. We
Yeah,
could
let's do
work
that.
on solving some of the tech problems that we were talking about before.
It we seem pretty stable now.
Yeah, I maybe I should be doing that, rebooting my machine before. launching more often.
Does this happen a lot?
Break out. Oh,
Audiences.
Michael says break out the coloring book. So the very first D&D product I ever bought um, was Michael. You asked for it. It's happening right now. It was the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons official coloring album, which
What is that?
it is. It is one of the greatest. One of the greatest intro products ever. So you know how in the COVID suddenly grown-up coloring books got popular?
Yep.
Well, back in the late '70s, there was a previous round of adult coloring books or grown-up coloring. Adult coloring books sounds sexy, or not, but grown-up coloring books, and at the same time that D&D was launching, and so they did a contract with this company, Troubadour Press, who did all kinds of coloring albums to make this product, and it's written by Gary Gygax. It's got a story. We go look inside. You know what? I'm gonna pull. You will not be. You may not be able to be heard while I'm doing this, but it's got a. You know what? I can change that. I can make you unmuted. Now you can be heard. So see,
Oh, look at that.
written by Gary Gygax, and it's got a story, The Quest, a story about these adventurers and what happens to them when they go into the dungeon. The bridge in the cavern.
Oh, man.
And yeah, but the thing that makes it a great intro product, the center spread, is a little game, is a little board game, which basically teaches you the basics of what a role-playing session, particularly at the time, would be like, what a dungeon crawl game would be like. It's like a super simplified version of the dungeon board game. And in fact, if you look at the bottom of each of those pages, we got the story going on there on the left side, but at the bottom of the page, there's a little snippet of the rules for the game. So the rules are spread throughout the coloring book, and the board is there in the center, and you can play the board game.
How readily available is that book? I need to give myself a copy
Now,
of that.
not at all. I mean, it was made in '79 and never redone. Although,
Wait, how long have you owned that particular book?
I rebought this one because I did not manage to keep my original.
Okay. Because I was like really impressed. If you had owned it since then and never colored in it, that to me would be very impressive.
The few people I know who have one, that's what they have. But I'll send you a link afterwards. There's at least one site online that basically scanned every page and put it up in as a review. I'm not gonna put that up here because it's a pirated copy of the book, but it's awesome. And so Michael asked me to put it up because I talk about it all the time. All the time.
I have known you for years and I've never heard about it. Not once.
Well, I didn't have it to just pull out and show you.
I feel cheated. Okay. You know, that reminds me, a long time ago in the chat, someone asked how we met, and I ignored that question because I forget. I don't remember how we met.
Well,
and do you remember how we met?
I don't think we have a meet cute.
I don't think we do either.
I think we met at one of the local. So you're a local in the greater Seattle Tacoma area. You're in the Tacoma area. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a secret, but now I've told everyone. Um,
I
and
think I
we met at one of the game or comic events, and then I went to join Claw,
yes. Yeah.
and that's where we really got to interact. Claw was the Cartoonists League of Absurd Washingtonians, which,
Yes, it
kind of
was.
like Freelance Fandango, was a group you created to create.
It was. I
You know,
like creating groups of artists and things. Yes, I'm a habitual creator of things. Um, yeah, Claw was a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, my website is still the official Claw, or my not website, but my email is the official Claw email, despite Claw being on hiatus for many, many years now. Um, you know what? That's not true. I actually, although neither of us remember it, I am 100% sure we met way before that because you
oh,
were working at West End when I was a freelance artist for them, and this was in Pennsylvania.
yeah.
And I came into the offices at least not half a dozen times.
Well,
And you must have been there. You must have been there at the same time I was there.
quite possible. I actually was only working at West End for uh, 10 months.
Oh, maybe not then. But I'm sure, like based on previous conversations we've had, I know that our experience with that company overlapped in some way,
Yeah.
right? The work I was doing was about the same time was the work that you were doing there. Obviously, I was just working as a freelancer, um, but my parents lived in Pennsylvania, so every once in a while, when I went up to visit them, I would just stop into West End and pick up merch and old paintings that they never emailed me back or never mailed me back.
So you were
Um,
doing work. Who were you doing work with? Remember any
oh, I could
names?
not even tell you. No, not a clue. I know what I was working on Necromunda. I think that's what it was called. Necro something or other.
Necroscope.
Necroscope. That's what I was working on. I was working on Necroscope. I was a horror artist for a very long time, which, if you look at my work now, you would never say that's what I started as. But yeah, for gore was a lot of what I did in my early career.
There was a lot of gore in the Necroscope.
There was, and I was responsible for at least some of it. Yes.
I was
Um,
technically the uh, the editorial lead for Necroscope.
oh, there you go. So
Um,
you saw some of your work at the very least.
yeah. Now I say technically because I was I was hired by uh, West End to be a graphic monkey, to be a graphic designer, a layout guy, basically. And despite the fact that my real desires and skills were in the editorial, I had the chops to do what they needed, and they couldn't find other people, and they didn't have, and they had an opening there. So that's what I got hired to do.
Were
And
you doing layout stuff
yes,
or were you
oh yeah.
doing marketing stuff? Layout stuff. Okay.
Well, wait, what was the second option?
Marketing material.
Both. Everyone did everything, but
Yeah.
I was doing layout and graphics
A
for.
lot of my work was in the reviews that I got for my fantasy work. A lot of it was called gross and intentionally ugly. Yes. Uh,
That sounds like Necroscope.
yep. Oh, that was definitely this. I can't tell you how many disemboweled people I drew
Yeah,
for that particular series.
I'm
So
sure.
many disemboweled people. Like that was pretty much every third art direction. Could you draw this guy disemboweled?
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
oh, okay. All
I
right.
say while I was technically the editorial lead, someone else did the editorial work, most of it, um, as they were trying to free up my time so they could let me out of the art department. But the art department was never going to let me go.
Yeah, yeah. Art departments are like that. They like holding on to people. Um, I will remember probably the strongest memory I have of that time period is just the absurd contracts that I would be given from West End that were like 100 pages long,
Really?
mostly because of the work that they were doing with Star Wars at the time.
All right,
They
because
were just
you had to do a master contract, right?
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, I did a lot of layout stuff for the Star Wars Adventure Journal and various Star Wars products of that era. I did the very first thing I did on my very first day was draw a hand drawn map for the Tank Girl World of Tank Girl
Oh,
game
nice. Do you still have a copy of that somewhere?
somewhere.
That'd be amazing to see. I would love to take a look at that. Yeah, I think originally when I started getting work for West End, I was like, yeah, what I really want to work on is the Star Wars stuff, and ended up never working on the
Yeah,
Star Wars
well,
stuff.
that's all. Lucas had to approve every artist. Lucasfilm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there were a lot of people who wanted to work on Star Wars that we'd bring him in and say, "Well, you can't until Lucas approves you. You can't do that." But in the meanwhile, we've got some Necroscope for you.
That's right. Here's some Necroscope. That's actually, I think I had that exact conversation with somebody there. That's funny. I enjoyed that work though. It was fun. Um, Not stuff I would show my kids, but fun.
Right. Um, yeah. So you're right. That is
Is that a
we
is that a
probably did
different
need to.
color?
No.
That the background color you're using right now is not a different color than the
No.
black that you're using for. Man, it looks warmer.
Well,
Interesting.
I'm putting warmer. I'm putting my heart into it.
I to answer a question in chat, I have never had the privilege of working with Owen. I've never. I don't think we've ever met actually. He and I.
I
I
don't.
would love to. He's a genius, absolute genius. I've admired his work, but I've never actually. I don't think I've ever met him in person.
No. Well, certainly it wouldn't have been through me because by the time you and I met, Owen was not in the area anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly before you and I
Yes,
started
that is.
hanging out a good
I
deal.
think we were ships. We were ships in the night when it came to the Pacific Northwest. Like he was going when I was coming. Because for the longest time I was purely East Coast and working mostly with East Coast companies.
Did you ever do any work with highlights for children?
No, that would have been amazing. I would have
They,
absolutely loved to have done that.
they were based out of the same town that West End was.
No,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I had known that. I would have tried to get because my parents lived maybe I don't know 45 minutes away from that town. No, if only I had known. Where were you then, other than being in that town?
What?
I said, where were you then to tell me that?
Oh, well,
You were in that.
I was in that town.
Hey, did you ever get in to do any work with
No, they didn't
highlights?
want anything to do with us.
I'm astounded by your like. I love talking to you mostly because we both have been in the industry for so long, but have both had radically different paths. Um, so I'm always fascinated to hear your stories about working in the industry.
I feel the same about you.
I'm not so. Yeah, yeah, dude, I really love that cover. Both yours and hers. It really, the framing is really nice.
Yeah. Well, I love hers, and I hope to capture a little bit of it in mine. Now, so okay, so now I've finished this, except for
Yes, the mistake. Yeah. Well, okay. Here's what I recommend you do because you have time. It's only like I don't want to say the actual time because of but yeah, we've only been at this for about an hour and a half, maybe an hour 45 minutes, probably an hour and a half based on everything we've been talking about and the technical issues. What I would recommend you do, reduce the opacity of that layer,
yeah,
right, down to about like 20%, and just start drawing over that thing.
yep, like that.
We've all done it. We've all been there.
Yep, that's just what I was thinking I would do. And the other thing I
So
sometimes
when
do is
you
just take it and fill that layer with blue, so all those come in really strong blue,
sure,
right? And then
and then
then
you
do the
just
same
paint
thing,
over
so I
the
don't
blue.
have to drop the opacity,
That's not a bad idea either.
right? So if I take this thing and I alpha lock it, and then I can undo this in case, but I can fill the layer with blue. All those black lines become
Yep.
solid blue lines.
Yeah, that's great too.
Yeah.
I love that you still use non-repo blue.
I I talk about that on the Thursday show a lot. It's I like it gives me comfort. It serves no
Yeah,
purpose
yeah.
anymore, but it gives me comfort.
It's definitely a throwback, that's for sure. Um, yeah, I don't sketch in blue anymore. I used to have those pencils, right?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I used to do? We're talking 30-year-old fantasy illustration processes right now. Um, I would make all my drawings on transfer paper.
Yeah.
And I would transfer my drawings onto a canvas and then begin to paint on the canvas with the transfer. Um, and so I have a moldering stack of like hundreds of pencil sketches done on this transfer paper that are all fraying and they've got tape on them and it's terrible and they've been etched over. But I have this huge pile of them in my house to this day. And I love looking back on them and
Well,
just
I
being like,
mean,
wow.
that's one of the things. Um, I I'm guessing you may know this, but the audience may not. Uh, this, by the way, is the all art episode. We're going to talk art all
Sorry, everybody.
time.
You invite an old fantasy illustrator on your show. That's what you get.
Um, but you know what? You know what ukiyo-e is?
EOA.
Ukiyo, UKIO. Ukiyo
No.
hyphen E. It's Japanese, traditional Japanese prints. When you think about Hokusai or Hiroshige, the views of Mount
Oh,
Fuji, the Great Wave of
yep, yep.
Kanagawa.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep, yep, yep.
Japanese prints. So the thing about those is they are woodblock prints. Um, so the drawings, the original drawings, what we're seeing is a printmaker's version of what Hokusai did or Hiroshige did. Their actual drawings are long since destroyed because they were used as
Oh,
transfers. That was
sure,
part
yeah.
the process of making the woodblock is they'd take the drawing, put it on the block, and carve it and carve away the paper. So
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
left
sure.
is the woodblock, and the actual drawings are long since gone. A, a
Wait,
couple of years ago,
do some of the print blocks exist still?
yes, the print blocks would get worn out and then have to be recarved for
Sure.
popular things. there are
Oh,
multiple versions of the carvings because the wood blocks would get destroyed in the process of repeatedly making uh, these prints. So even
I
that,
would
a lot,
imagine
even those
having
are are second or the ones that still remain are second or third or fourth generation carvings uh,
yeah, yeah.
based off the carving, which is based off the drawing, which no longer exists.
Yeah, but that's living, working art artifact. Like that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing that gets me. Just to be able to see that would make my entire day.
So here's well, there's a few things I will need to send you some links to. Um, but a few years ago, uh, from a private collection, the British Museum got a notebook that Hokusai had put together for what was going to be his next big collection of drawings of everything. It's like how everything works in the world. And he died while he was working on it, so it was never made into block prints. And so
Oh,
the British Museum has now this um, this collection, this book and collection of actual Hokusai drawings, um, which they released that they put on display 3 years ago now, I think, um, and they put an exhibit book out, so you can buy the book of of the actual drawings. But every time we talk about something like drawing on transfer paper, uh, that makes me think about that. Right? That's the equivalent of the Hokusai drawing.
for sure. Yeah. I still remember I there was at least one cover to I believe it was a Changeling the Dreaming book that I needed to get to the like FedEx. I needed to get to the shipper like that day, and I wasn't done with it, and I was desperate to finish it. And it was, I believe, it was an acrylic painting, and I rushed to uh, the FedEx department like while painting, like somebody was driving and I was painting in the car to get this to the publisher on time. And I remember putting it down on the counter, still wet, still like soaking wet. And I'm like, I need to mail this right now before like 5 o'clock today. It needs to go out today. And they're like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I do not care. It needs to go out today. They printed it, and there are clear smudge marks in several areas on that painting. Like when I finally saw the final book, I was mortified. I was like, I can never let this happen again. I can never turn in a work like this. Um, but and I can't tell you how many paintings I made in that time period that I never got back because that
Yeah.
was just the nature of the game. Like there were some publishers I really had to hound to try to get the artwork back. I don't know if you ever had that experience.
I I did not, but I was never as successful at getting drawing work, artist work in the game industry as I have been at getting game design and writing work because
Sure.
they just don't have use for cartoons for a long time. They just I
Yeah, for absolutely. I would say that a cartoony look was not what anyone was looking for at the time.
nope.
Um, which is funny because like John Kovalik is one of my absolute favorite artists of all time in the gaming industry, and he's just been drawing cartoons for like 40 years.
Right, but
Uh,
where was he drawing cartoons for? It was for a magazine. It was for
no,
Shaded,
yeah, true. Yep, yep.
and that's the only place. I mean, I got some stuff for Dragon and Dungeon occasionally, but even there, they wanted stuff that looked more like what was in the game that uh,
Yeah.
than the cartoony stuff.
Yeah, I guess I really didn't start like drawing cartoony until I started working on a webcomic, to be honest. I do like a good like uh, there's a place for every kind of style in gaming for sure. Um and I love all kind of work. I think the D&D look is very distinctive and has been very distinctive for years. Um so I think there's something to be said about that style having to be a certain way. Um,
I mean, I have very complicated feelings about it, having worked there and talked to people and gotten to understand why certain courses were or weren't taken.
yeah.
Um,
I realize I just said that while a guest on a stream about somebody doing cartoony versions of D&D covers, and I realize immediately I made a mistake. But
I don't why. Why did you make a mistake?
well, I'm like, the D&D art style is has a very distinct look, and I understand why it has that look, and here I'm discounting your amazing
No,
work
but
that
they would
you're
never
doing.
put my stuff on a cover. They wouldn't put my stuff in a book. You know what? The
Oh
only
man, they
the only
should.
books I ever got art into for D&D were, well, no, for Wizards, were the when we did the uh, Saga rules version of Marvel. They wanted a They
Really?
wanted, yeah. Well, they wanted a someone's character sheet of their homebrewed hero. So they wanted a drawing of the hero that looked like it was done by someone at home, not by Marvel. So
Oh,
I drew the hero that went on that character sheet. And there were a couple of other times they needed a, a throwaway thing that was basically, it was supposed to look crappy, right? It's supposed to look not of the quality, and maybe the crap. It was supposed to look like it was done by an amateur. It was the cartoon version of whatever it was, and
well, that's a
those.
terrible story, Sam, and I'm sorry.
Um,
I would
but
say the
I did stuff for
cartooniest.
the magazines, and that was great. The other time was in fourth edition. There was a game. I can't remember the name of the product, but it had a cover that was done by the Penny Arcade guys,
Oh yeah,
and the
I've
inside
always
art
liked.
was very comic booky, but it also went very cartoony. And I did about 10 pieces for that. But that's the only time they would ever ask me to do anything.
I would say probably the cartooniest I ever got in my heyday is I did a few books for. I don't know who published it at the time, but World of Warcraft did some tabletop role playing books, and I did was doing some art for those, and that they really encouraged me to be more. I wouldn't say cartoony per se, but definitely more exaggerated
Right.
than some of the more classic styles that I had worked on in the past. So I really got to kind of express myself a little bit that way.
I had, besides wanting to get to work for myself, uh, I what's this? Why did I draw that? I had when I first got to TSR, or pretty shortly afterwards, I was having a conversation with some of the art directors about the adventures that were being published, the 1630 page folio style adventures that were being done for Ravenloft, Greyhawk. All the lines had these several times a year still, but they sold. They didn't sell great, and I thought that one of the problems that they had was that. Well, no, let's change that. So I went to them with this idea. I said, "Look, I think that we should try doing a couple of products that have more comic book style, middle of the action covers." And the art director at the time pulled out some paintings that they'd had, and I'm like, "No, those look like paintings. I mean, like in the classic D&D adventures, like on
Yeah.
White Plume Mountain and this." And they said, "You mean those crappy comic book covers?"
Oh
And they
no.
laughed. They laughed so hard at my suggestion that maybe, and I said, "No, not that. Don't get the same thing. That was a 1980s, but the modern version of that kind of engagement." And they laughed so hard at me because they were setting this this tone with they had these artists, these great artists, and they were great
Yeah.
artists. I in no way, I mean, they're who are also friends of mine, people I look up to, but they just thought the idea that of doing a product that had a comic booky adventure, middle of the adventure uh, look to it was just hilarious. And why would they ever want to do crap like that?
Wow. That's fascinating. I mean, I can
Now, I
see that. I
think,
can see that happening.
I mean,
Absolutely see that.
yeah, and I understand the value in setting a brand look,
Oh, sure.
which was
Yeah.
something I didn't really understand completely at that time, and why they're since they had the money and they were trying to create this brand look.
And when you've established a look like with the brothers Hildebrand and
Yeah.
Elmore and like all the classics, right? All the names I should have remembered when you asked me who my heroes were when I first started, right? Because they all, I mean, there are the great masters when we talk about like they established a look that has now existed for over 50 years. Um, it certainly wasn't those guys who did the very first drawings, right? Although there is, I'm not discounting that at all because I absolutely love the early, very early, like D&D stuff where um, that just has its own like joyful quality to it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a huge fan of low art though. I love the idea of low art. Um, the idea of work that is designed to be disposable or work that's designed to be mass produced. Um, that all has always had an appeal to me and influences a lot of my work is that kind of thing. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I was just this summer traveled down to San Diego and we spent some time in Old Town San Diego, and in it were these marketplaces that were just like copyright or IP thefting everything under the sun they could possibly think of, but doing it in this really like deformed, um, like Mexican folk arty kind of way that like you saw these characters, these copyrighted characters that should not exist in the form that they existed in, and I just took like like maybe 50 photos of things. Like it was my part of my favorite part of the trip was just seeing these kinds of work. So there's a part of me that really loves bad art, quote unquote, for what it is, right? And I think we should lean into that a little bit more, especially in the age of AI slop, where everything is got a homogenized feel to it. Um, Being able to break out of that is, I think, super important. One of the reasons why when I think I think about a lot of the weirder styles in publications like heavy metal, where it it isn't traditionally pretty, right? That's what really draws me.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, the early stuff has real grit. I agree, Michael.
I one of the things that I would bring up invariably was that the original Player's Handbook and uh, Dungeon Master's Guide had literal cartoons in it,
Yeah,
right? Not just cartoony style, gag cartoons in the books, and it didn't hurt the game any. Which really was, my point for let's discuss this because all right, I can see why maybe you might not want to do it, but it doesn't. It's not going to kill the game to do it because it's always been there, which generally just got waved off as right, right, right.
yeah, yeah, I can see that.
But again, I certainly have come to understand the business argument for now. Now, the other problem that they had that TSR and D&D has is that by employing the Hildebrands and Elmore and Easley and all the other people, Clyde Caldwell, I could go on and on. I could name all the cover artists that I've done covers recreations of here and more. Um, they didn't just set the tone for D&D, they set the tone for fantasy art,
Oh yeah.
right? And
I mean,
and they the
I would
problem
say the years of Tolkien. I
calendars.
don't know. I mean, you come from the same generation I do, so you grew up with those Lord of the Rings calendars that came
Yeah.
out every year, chock full of the most amazing fantasy illustration ever, right? Uh, and they were all a big part of those as well. Um,
Yeah. But the problem they had was that um, it got to the point where generic fantasy and that D&D was not separate. You couldn't tell the difference between a piece of D&D art and any fantasy art, which was great
yeah,
in
but
one sense.
now when you think of fantasy art, I mean the gamble paid off because now when you think of fantasy art, you think of D&D art.
But it didn't pay. I mean, from their perspective, it didn't pay off because that anyone could do that, right? And it wouldn't. They didn't have an exclusive thing that they could sell that no one else could do. From a business perspective,
I
they
don't know,
want to
but
be
then
able to.
the comparison of the other products will always be, oh, well, that just looks like D&D. Wait, can I interrupt our conversation for a second? Because what you are not seeing in chat is a really wonderful compliment that I would like to read to you by
Oh,
Chris. It said, this image that Santa's working on is incredibly unrealistic, based on the amount of ripples in the water, where would be 10% more mosquitoes. There would be 10% more mosquitoes. Everything else feels real. I love that. Like I love. Uh, so you should include more mosquitoes than in the original RiverBank cover, I think is what I'm hearing.
Oh, except I don't want to. I I don't like mosquitoes.
Wait, you don't. So you don't add details. You are faithful. You try to
No,
be
oh
as
God,
faithful.
no, no. It's not that I couldn't. Is that why would I want to add mosquitoes?
Well, I'm going to add some mosquitoes to my drawing then. If that's you're making solid progress.
And say, hey, look, I did it.
Yeah.
Because if I turn that layer off now, I got it. I
Yeah.
got myself.
It's like it never even happened. All right. I've drawn some more too. Let me show you
All
some
right,
of
all right.
those.
Yes, please do.
Let's see if I do this right. Is it over here?
Other
Nope, it's over
side.
here.
There you go. Oh, look at
There you
oh. That
see if
mole
I can
lady
clean it.
is crazy.
Yeah, well, you were when you drew them the second time. I was just like, oh, I can make that look weirder.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to make it look weird.
That one of those characters there was one of the characters from Sidekick Quests.
It was, yeah, my favorite character from my old series. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I even got, if I can show something
You
hidden
can.
behind here. It's one of my absolute favorite things. So when I was working on the comic, one of the characters was a tiny. There weren't thieves in my fantasy world. There were jesters because I didn't want to teach. Thank you very much, Chris. I didn't want to teach children that rogues and thieves were necessarily something that are required to play fantasy role playing games.
Right.
So, but instead, I took the concept of them. I made a little jester, and the character's name is Money, and he was a funny little character. One of my most cherished items of all time is a fan sent me a plush they had made of
Oh.
that character. Yeah, and it's right. I got it right here, hidden away back here. Oh, there he is.
Oh, that is awesome.
Isn't he great?
That is awesome.
Like that is. I will always cherish this thing. This is one of my most prized possessions. Um, I love fans. They're the fandom that's a part of, and I consider myself as part of that. That's
Hold on,
part
wait a
of
second. Just
role
hold on a
playing.
second. I love fans too.
There you go. But
My
like
fans are the best.
that was such a beautiful moment. Stan fans are the best. But I mean, I think one of the things that's kept me in the in the tabletop role playing and just the gaming industry in general is the people that are a part of it. Because it certainly isn't the money.
Mm.
The money has never been the reason why you do this work.
Oh, hey, Danny from Fandango is here.
Oh, really?
I
Oh, that's
just figured
awesome.
when I said to see you on Sunday, wait, that must be Danny. Hey, Danny.
Oh, yeah. Well, welcome. I hope you're enjoying this conversation.
Stand for the hearing impaired, right? Just me up front. Here we go. Sounds
That's
like
right. Anything I say, he's just going to. We should flip it so that I'm the one that's doing the hand gestures. Although you would not want me to do the hand gestures
yeah.
if you want to keep your fans.
We are
Are you
both
both
fans of fans,
fans?
surreptitious.
I
It's
am
true.
fans of fans. I like all, yeah. I mean, that's one of the. It is absolutely conventions have always been such a joy. Going to conventions, being a part of that community on both sides, like walking conventions, being a guest at conventions. Um, I've really, since COVID, have kind of missed them and really longed to go back.
Yeah.
I haven't really attended conventions since COVID.
Yeah. Well,
Oh no, Danny had a good bed. She is on the East Coast. That makes sense.
that's true.
Well, I
It's
don't know
very
how many of our viewers are on the East
well.
Coast, but
Michael's in Pittsburgh.
oh, hey, Pennsylvania represent. I was on the wrong side of Pennsylvania than you, but uh, I spent a good amount of time. I've seen a lot of punk shows in Pittsburgh growing up. I love Pittsburgh.
All right. Let's see. What do I need to
One of
clean
my
up here?
one of my favorite buildings of all time, by one of my favorite architects of all time, is just north of Pittsburgh.
What building is that?
That is Falling Waters by this is where
Come
I run
on.
into
You can
because
do it.
I forget names. Somebody should
Frank.
help me.
Frank.
Yeah, oh, so you know it. I just can't remember it.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Frank Lloyd Wright. I was about to say Frank Herbert Wright. That's not right. Frank Lloyd Wright. That's right. Uh, I actually had a chance to walk through that building.
You know what? I've never been to Falling Water, though. I'm a big fan. I think everyone
I've
in the
never.
world is a fan of Falling Water. They just don't. If they don't know it yet, it's because they haven't seen it.
That's right. Like it is astounding. It is astounding. Uh, just the whole idea that like it's just hanging over a waterfall. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's did they is it open to the public, Michael? Still? I just
One of
like
my
the way.
favorite buildings, which turns out also to be one of everyone's favorite buildings. I just didn't know it. I thought I was special. Is the Flatiron Building in New York?
Sure. Yeah. Frank Lloyd Wright's windows have always been the thing. Like he would bring both like windows to corners in a cool way. And although I will say as a plus size individual, his corridors very narrow, incredibly narrow. All right, I'm going to feign ignorance. What exactly is a portmanteau?
Portmanteau.
For sure,
Portmanteau. It's
Frank Herbert
a
Wright.
portmanteau is a word that's made up of other words.
Oh, okay, there you go. He hated hallways. I bet he did. It's clear to me, being in at least two of his buildings, that he did in fact hate hallways. Oh, that's funny. I can't believe all the amount of different subjects we've talked about uh, here tonight surprises me.
This is why
I,
my show is such a wonderful thing.
I love it. I'm so
You know
glad you
what?
invited
You
me.
know what else
I'm
I'm gonna say is when we started, saying I told you this happens to everyone. You're saying
yeah
how long you were gonna go? We're over 2 hours now. We're well over 2 hours now. Like
yeah
two and a half
yeah.
hours.
I said I think when we started, oh, I have a hard stop at a
Yeah,
certain period, and we've blown past that hard stop at this point.
and yeah, I told you anytime you want to go, you can just give me the nod. We'll do it. But we're having so much fun.
Yeah, this is great. I guess when we run out of things to talk about, that's when we'll. Or
Well, I
when you're
think
done, are you done the inking of it at this point? You're not
I'm
showing
just
anybody
about
the
done.
artwork for this.
I'm doing little cleanuppy things, and the next will be coloring, which I theoretically could start, but I won't
Can
because
I see
it's.
the cleanup that you're doing? I can't see the
Oh, I'm
screen.
sorry. Yeah,
You're just looking at the two of us. No one wants that. There you go. God, that's so clean. Like when you take the blue line off, I've always appreciated uh your line. It's one of my favorite things about your work.
I yeah, I think the same thing about your lines. I love your uh, you maybe because you work in vectors so much, you have very clean lines, but you see shapes that I don't see.
Yeah. I am a lot more like my cartoony work is a lot more graphic than yours is. Yours has a more life to it, right? It's more organic. It flows better. My stuff is more tight, and built on geometric shapes, right? I think that's a big difference between your work and my work.
I can buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will do this. Let's say the river and the background I'll drop into some other line color rather than black. But
How many different layers of inks do you have here right now? I mean, not counting the one that technically shouldn't be its own layer, but through necessity had to be one.
it no longer is.
Oh, did you merge it with the other
Yeah,
boat layer?
yeah, that's all one layer now.
Okay, so it is foregrounds, subject,
Yeah, so
midgrounds,
we've
far,
got the
backgrounds,
background in
backgrounds,
the
midgrounds,
river,
backgrounds. Okay,
and the foreground and the characters.
okay, all right.
Um,
RPGs need more infographics that illustrate gameplay. Yes, yes.
yeah,
I think we can both. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I experimented with when I was working with Psychic Quests is doing a rule book that was comics.
right.
I think that was my ultimate goal with that project. If it had ever ended, which it did not, it just kind of ran afoul of logistical problems that kind of killed the whole project for me. But one day, in theory, my goal is to finish it or restart it in a way that, because I still think, and I don't, I hopefully people agree with me here in the stream, there should be way more tabletop role playing games aimed at younger people.
I certainly
Uh,
agree, but I've designed four of them.
uh, I really think it it's wonderful for young interactions. It's good for problem solving. It's a way to introduce game theory and strategy and working together as a group. Like there's
Yeah.
so many benefits
Have
to
you
introducing role playing games
have
to
you
children.
seen any or many Japanese Japanese created role playing games?
I have not.
So one of the things that I love about them, like with everything, they're okay with dropping manga and chibi manga in the middle of anything.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
do a lot of graphic work to do that kind to show what you should be doing or to illustrate what you should be doing in that cute style and that kind of chibi style, or at least the more younger viewer manga style, despite the fact that the rest of the book might be filled with gore or Cthulhu or whatever. Um, and they don't have a problem with with that. They don't consider that at all dissonant, um, which I love. But they do. They've got a lot of graphics of that kind of thing. Here's where you do this, and you want to move your player like that, or look at here. Here's where it is on the character sheet. Put it in there.
Yep. No, I would totally agree. There should be more adoption of that. T. Rob asks, "What are the 4 TTRPGs you developed for kids?"
Well, well, I may have overstated.
How
Let's see.
long do you
So there's Pokemon Junior for sure. There's
Mhm.
one.
Knew about that one for
Right.
sure.
It never got published, but there was Pokemon Master, which we finished
Okay.
and was ready to go. There's
You the Warriors. You did a Warriors
the Warriors
RPG.
game. I just feel I'm sure I have a gut feeling. The reason I say 4 is I believe there's a 4th one in there, and I can't remember what it is. But I'm old.
And you've done a large body of work. So
I've done other simple games, which are not technically for kids, but are aimed to be usable. Like I do, what I do have the rules for my own. I'm going to do it again. Michael, what am I pulling out? For my own version, I've been trying to convince a publisher to do a product like that for years, and the most common and the best response I ever get is, that looks interesting. Yeah, we should think about it.
You know what? I think that's a product that, I mean, say you're talking about, maybe, I don't know how many pages that book actually is, but let's say you're just creating
32.
very simple coloring book pages that also happen to be an adventure that you can play through.
Yeah.
Right? That sounds like an indie RPG. It would sell like gangbusters at a convention.
It might.
It
Yes.
would. It absolutely would.
Oh, Saga system was stripped. Yeah, I did strip down the Saga system to a basic game for the Fate deck product. That, I mean, I didn't invent that game, but I certainly stripped it down to it. Yeah, so maybe that's a 4th. Maybe I've got 3 and a fractional number approaching 4.
There you
go.
Okay, I've got to ask you, since we're like all over the place.
Yeah.
When you are, what do you, both visually and as a game designer and probably as a writer, so think of this in 3 different ways. What do you look for in a new role-playing game? Like, if you find this, you're happy. Like, as an artist, what are you looking for in a role-playing game?
I don't think my artist goes looking for role-playing games. I don't think my inner artist goes shopping.
I guess it's because of my background, but
I suppose, there are things, if it's a super cool image, right, of a world that I want to go into, that will get me to, so that'll get me to pick the book up, to look at it. My artist will get me to pick books up. Usually won't get me to buy them.
See, a really well-designed character sheet will get me every single time. Every single time.
Yeah.
I will play games with bad mechanics if you've given me a wonderfully laid out character sheet. Hands down. I have gushed. I love character sheet design. It is the most niche of small layout things, but it's so easy to do them wrong that when you see a good one, it's just like a treat, just like such a sumptuous treat. Okay, as a game designer,
I'm going back to the artist thing, and I'm thinking about what I chose to do for this project, right? Which for the first year when I was celebrating the 50 years of D&D, which products I chose. I specifically chose images that were the characters doing a thing. The ones that like we used to have, and this is going back to my conversation with those art directors. I was saying the thing that's missing from these great, beautifully painted covers is that the customers, don't pick it up and see themselves in it. They don't see, I want to be there. I want my character to do that thing. I don't feel that connection. Doesn't, oh boy, I can't wait to get to that. It's just a great painting of a thing. And so I chose a lot of covers. Almost all of them are covers that had that moment. And that's the kind of thing, just as the artist side, uh, if the the game is giving me things, the imagery that I look at, that makes me say, "Oh, I want to play that." I can see myself in that
So
moment.
Brahm, for example, is not your favorite type of artist.
No, I what
Because
not not for
all of
not
his
for
work
this
was
purpose.
always just a figure standing on a behind in front of a cool background, very static.
Yeah, but a cool enough setting will do it. Will
Yeah,
can get that. Like Dark Sun, and yeah, Brahm did some pretty good.
yeah.
Brahm did
I
some
don't
pretty
think
good
people
art.
would
I'm
still
saying.
remember. I don't think people would remember Dark Sun if it wasn't for his distinctive art
Right,
style.
but
Yes,
it
absolutely.
was different and beautiful enough that did kind of pull me in, even
Yep,
though most of the art wasn't what I just described.
yep.
Planescape didn't, for exactly that reason. Planescape had some really gorgeous covers of the outer planes and other things, or creatures, but not, for the most part, not adventurers doing things. So, so I didn't ever feel pulled into Planescape. Um, Birthright had great covers. I wasn't playing and buying stuff anymore at that point. Birthright, though, had great moments. I would always look at a Birthright cover and say, man, I want to play in that. The end.
uh,
Um,
Sorry, there was some background noise on my end, so I muted
all
myself
right,
for a little bit while you were talking.
that's all right.
You did it easy.
The For the game
You
designer
actually
end of it,
did.
I I don't know. I mean, some of the game designer I won't know until I've read the book. Mostly, it's hard to thumb through a. It's hard for me to thumb through a game and have the game designer side of me say, "That looks interesting." Um,
So you're not like, if they don't have a what is role playing within the first 3 pages, then I'm not even picking
no,
this book.
um, but if it just, if I, what might put me off, put the game designer me off, is how I look at it, and looking at how things are done just snores me to begin with. It's like, um,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
uh,
Are you a do you prefer miniatures or theater of the mind?
do I prefer miniatures or what?
Theater of the mind, like
Theater of the mind. I like I like maps. You know what I love I've loved the most is whiteboards.
mm,
Um, and to that end, gaming paper. The gaming paper. I'm going to plug.
oh yeah,
They're not
yeah.
sponsored, but they're friends of mine, and you should buy their products. Gaming paper. I like now. Part of that is that I'm drawing anyway. I've never been pulled into minis as much because no matter how good the mini is, it doesn't feel like my character because I can see my character and I can draw my character.
Even now in the days of we're right now we're in like you can make a miniature on demand that is your character. Like you can modify it in like
Yeah.
even like there's the potential to fully realize your character in 3D with very little effort.
Yeah, yeah. That might get it closer, but I don't like painting minis
Yeah,
as
me neither.
so I do like minis. I like minis a lot, but for playing the game, putting them on the getting the some dwarven forge and moving them around, I'd rather have a paper mini or a pog, a little chit. I love the minis, but they they don't draw me in. They don't feel for my brain. They are not immersive.
Have you ever thought of releasing just like a fantasy illustration icon pack where people could make little paper standees based on your style of art?
Michael in chat he just said he wants that. He wants me to design standees.
Oh yeah.
Have I
Well, it
thought
makes
about
sense.
it?
I want
Yeah,
you to design that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Yes,
I
yes,
thought about
exactly.
it. I've
Standard.
yes,
You
absolutely have
should.
thought about it. Um,
I
and
agree.
uh, uh, have I ever taken enough time to do enough that they could be released? No.
I would say I would hazard to bet you have enough raw material in all the work that you've done that you could put together a a thing like that pretty
So
easy.
here's what I found out in exploring that idea is that the drawings have to be done within a certain shape to be the mini, right? If you're going to have
Mm-hmm.
right, and I don't tend to work in shapes that are conducive to that.
Okay. There's work. There's workarounds there.
I've looked at some of the things, and I think that I've got concepts that could be made into those things, but they all would need to be redrawn within the parameters of the standee or the thing. That the art as it exists is too much of it is not useful. A lot of it is useful, but too much of it is.
You're right. I forgot who I was talking about. You of all people do not need extra ideas pitched at you. You do too much already. Too much.
Yeah, I fail to finish a lot because I try to do too much.
That is only the sign of a virtuoso.
Stan should be doing YouTuber avatars too. Yeah. Dude, I offer my
I can
services.
help you do
If I
that.
did it for free, I could do a lot of it. No one's getting people to pay me to do it. That seems to be the rub.
Oh, I bet if you opened
I say,
a
Michael, what you should be saying is that people should be willing to pay Stan to do that.
I bet if you opened a I am doing avatar commissions. I've got 6 slots to 12 slots. I bet you would fill those 12 slots almost immediately.
How much would I sell them for?
I do not know what the going rate for that kind of thing is. I could not tell you. I would say no less than $100. 200. See, there you go.
Really? Get out of town. I have trouble getting people to buy it at 50.
What? And that's why we need more protections, everybody, in the freelance illustration creative professional market.
Yeah.
That right there.
Well, let's try and make that happen. Let's work together, Michael and Stowe. Let's make this happen. I want to get paid $200 a pop to do 6 of these.
I'll come out of social media retirement to help you do
All right. Well, let's do that.
that.
All right. You know what? I'm going to say, since I'm done drawing.
Yeah, now we're just talking. At
Well,
this point, we're just talking. There's no drawing involved.
That's fine. That's fine.
Are
But
you at a part where we should probably wrap it up?
I am feeling a point where I need to wrap it up. uh,
Okay.
for real world reasons.
Sure. I should
Uh,
probably also do the same. I am a school teacher.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Um,
I want to say thank you very much for inviting me on. This has been a joy. I mean, I knew it would be a joy because I just like talking to you, Stan.
Michael, yes,
Um,
but send me screenshots. That would be great.
but really, this has been wonderful. I learned a lot about things and you. Um, and I really appreciated the opportunity to kind of walk down memory lane a lot.
Yeah.
So,
As I say to all my guests that I have this much fun talking to, which is many of them, uh,
I
if
would
you want to
imagine.
come back again, I'll have you back on. Uh,
I would love to come back. Absolutely. 100%. We can
like
draw off.
I think you were, you know what, we were talking about figuring out some of the things so that I could get uh, your drawing tablet up at the same time. Originally,
I'm
and
still
folks don't
working
know
on
this, originally when I was getting set to do what is now the Random Encounters show, I had wanted to have other artists on with me and kind of do a rotating thing. And Stowe was one of the first people I was talking to about it, and
Oh, I would love to do that.
we could not get the technical
Yeah, I'm still having some technical issues, mostly because of the platforms that I talked
right.
about that I use.
But
But I
we
think
may we may have a workaround.
improv cartooning is an amazing thing. I would love to be a part of it. Super cool idea.
There's another one that's into its third year, and
Yeah, as well it should be.
it has even fewer viewers than this show.
But I can't help you there. I can't help you. I don't know the magic bringing
I can,
people
I
to the
can, I
thing.
know, I know. The fact of the matter is, I know some of the magic that I need to do, and I choose. I don't like doing it, so I choose to do other things,
There you
and I could stop and immediately say, you know what? If I just stopped doing these things I want to do and made myself do this, it would
you
help a lot.
you are talking to someone who has very purposefully stopped releasing artwork online.
Right.
I don't do it at all anymore. So I think you are very brave to put your work out there as much as you do, um, and you are very inspiring. So I don't know if you need that affirmation or not, but there
I'll,
you go. You
I'll
have it.
take it.
I would love to judge. It's the other problem with the improv drawing session. It happens on one of my game nights.
Uh,
Thursday is my RPG night with like my group of guys that we're all game designers, so we all just kind of
right.
like pitch games to each other and play them, and it's one of my favorite things. So that's what I usually do on Thursday nights. So I never get to see them.
Well, after having this Wednesday and Thursday schedule the Thursday's been going for
Yeah,
three,
3 years.
2.5, going on 3 years. This is a year and a half, over a year and a half now on Wednesdays. Um, I may be coming to a time where I need to change that schedule
Mhm.
when my the requirements of life might make me have to shift them around some, and so who knows what would happen then.
All right.
And then on top of that, we can always just do it on another day. It doesn't have to be Thursday night. We'll set it up. I'll tell everyone that it's going to happen, and we'll do it live, and I can put it on Thursday night if I want to use it as a replay. But Michael and Chris and all my other uh, reliable friends here on the
Quality
show,
viewers.
yes,
Quality viewers is what Chris calls them.
they are quality, very high quality.
Do I
Um,
know about your 200 character anniversary episode?
do you know about? I don't think you do.
I think I
For
do either.
the 100th episode of Random Encounters, I did a 100 characters in 100 minutes challenge. And I did not succeed, but I got pretty close.
I would do that with you. I
Had a
would
lot of
draw
fun.
100 characters, 200 characters. Oof,
Yeah,
that's a lot. 200 characters.
there's a lot of characters.
That's just carpal tunnel waiting to happen is what that
Right,
is.
but they were all super sketchy, right? It was
Oh yeah, yeah.
like 1 minute a character. Boom, 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 boom.
That'd be a fun thing to do though.
It was. It was
Yeah.
fun. All right. Well, next time I do one of those, we can do that together.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be great. And
All right.
thank you everybody for hanging out with us tonight.
Is there
We
anything you want to promote before I wrap it up?
that
The
people should be kinder to artists in general.
Where would they go to find out about uh, Fandango, the
Oh,
Sunday Fandango?
Fandango, yes, that I can promote. So, as I stated earlier in the program, I am the weekly host of a online forum for creative professionals, hosted in part by the Graphic Artist Guild. You can go to graphicartistguild.org, look at their event calendar. It is every Sunday morning. It is free. And if you want to have a discussion with other working professional artists like Stan and myself, you are more than welcome to join us.
And
There's no
Danny, who was in the chat earlier.
and Danny, who was also in the chat. Yeah. So that's kind of a passion project of mine. I really like giving back to artists. And beyond that, all the freelance work I do right now is not really the kind of stuff that I promote for myself. So,
All right.
uh,
Well,
but yeah, be kinder to teachers and artists. If there's anything I can promote, it is that.
excellent.
And everybody else, to be honest. Just be kinder as a general rule.
I I vote for that.
Yeah.
All right.
And thank
Hang
you,
on.
everybody.
Yeah, and we got a bunch of thank yous for you in the chat.
Awesome.
It's been awesome having you. Hold on, I'll do a quick outro, and then you and I can say goodnight.
Sounds good.
All right, there we go. Good chat with my friend, arts educator, and former World of Darkness illustrator, James Stowe. Uh, we had a very wide-ranging conversation. If somehow you're watching this without watching the rest of the show, go back and watch the show because we got you. There's just lots for you to dive into. I will be back tomorrow night with a new episode of the aforementioned Random Encounter show. Please tune in. We do some improv cartooning, and if you're in the live chat room, you can help decide what it is I'm going to draw. In the meanwhile, please, please, please give this a like. Give it a thumbs up or a like or a heart, whatever it is for the platform you're watching it on. And if you're watching it on replay, please leave a comment. These things help a lot. I know that's why you see everyone in my position saying it to you. It really does make a difference. It helps to get this channel, this program, shown to more people. And that's really what it's all about. So I'll be back tomorrow night, and then next week I'll be back doing more, another one of my work in progresses, and we'll see. I'm not even sure what that's going to be. But till then, take care, everyone. Bye.